groups like Women of West Heidelberg who take on issues, just little steps, should be involving themselves in the political sphere to make sure that their voices are heard.
By not judging by the way the person looks or by the way they live, accepting people for who they are, not what they're for. Go by their qualifications, whatever they've got, you know. If they apply for a job, you look at them, maybe a female has got better qualifications than a male. Why not take that female on first, you know? I know this is still supposed to be a man's world, but I think the women have got a lot to offer too.
Well, if everybody stopped arguing with everybody, the world would be a better place. It really would. And we should all help each other.
Equal pay, and they should be treated more fairly, both in the workforce and in the human race. And I think a lot of it comes back to respect. If we have respect for people in themselves, well, we'll sort of have more respect for women.
I think there should be more equal job opportunities money for the young girls starting, to give them the security in the workforce, and that to make them feel equal to men, and that will give them better security in their life and feel more equal and comfortable.
We should try and set an example that if we do unto others, they will do unto us, which I have found at one of the classes I go to, that if you give a little bit and you speak to them and that, they will give you respect back.
I think some of the ways we can make a fairer society for women, particularly in this community, is to ensure that all women feel safe, safe in their relationships, safe in their homes, safe in their communities. I think it's essential for women. I think that we need to make sure that we provide opportunities for women and that are equal to those of men, and sometimes that means we need to make some significant changes to make sure that that's possible for women. I think that young girls in our community need to be given access to everything that makes them the best human beings that they can possibly be. I love seeing young women in school working hard, learning, showing their skills and capabilities, so I think that's a good starting point.
I'd like to see things change. I'd like to see things change in the educational settings, in the big institutions, in the local services, where gender at an unconscious and conscious level is not inhibiting if you happen to be a woman.
I'm seeing it really at kind of the primary school level, and questions about how boys are taking on leadership roles in schools, and how do we change that, and some of that kind of unconscious bias that we're seeing in teachers and in ourselves around boys being put forward into leadership roles and girls kind of acquiescing. And so I guess that's a challenge for me, is around how do I change myself and my unconscious bias around encouraging girls a bit more.
I think education's the key. You need to educate women on how to look after themselves when they go out.
I think we need to focus on gender equality, and I found this great quote online. Women are not going to be equal outside the home until men are equal in it.
Education is such a big issue, particularly in third world countries, and those women need to have more choice as to their lives ahead of them. And I just think in general women need to be a force to be reckoned with amongst themselves. Like as in International Women's Day, we need to be looking after ourselves.
A fairer society would be equal pay for equal amount of work.
I love my husband very much, but when I married him, I didn't take on his surname. And to me, you know, it was a decision about not being defined in terms of my relationship to a man. And I think that's the fundamental problem that we have, that women's status is defined according to their relationship with a man. Men don't change their names ever. They keep their names from birth to the end, and I don't see why women don't have the same right.
We need to challenge patriarchy and gender inequity in all the forms that we see it, particularly for children in schools and the way we gender kids from such an early age?
I think it's very important that at the beginning, when a woman, sort of start pregnant or having a child, it's always best to also involve, the partners or their husband to be, involved in terms of how raising the kids properly, and being a father, especially, they need to be a role model, especially when they have a daughter. So that will make life a bit more easier down the track, where both parties have to come together in raising a very valuable and reasonable standard of upbringing their children.
Is a great way to meet people, to discuss issues, to socialise, and we meet in a non-threatening, very friendly environment. Please consider being a member of our group. We have lots of activities, lots of fun. I just love the friendship, the companionship. I love everything about this community place. It's a good place to meet people. It's a good place to know that when you're here you feel safe. The women's group to me means that the friendship, the companionship, the learning about what's going on in our own area, different topics, and it pleases me.
And the West Heidelberg group's been a lifesaver for me. I retired from work and was lazing around the house, and meeting Wendy again after many years, I've got involved, and I just love being involved, and I think we should be probably more involved in the political issues than we sort of are. Little steps make big roads, actually.
And I think when you're mixing with different people, with sort of different backgrounds as your own and your own same background, that can also add to your equality too. It makes you feel equal to everybody there. And you feel, if there's women there with problems, the problems you can discuss with friends can fix your problems for you, just talking about them.
Well, you can meet a lot of friendly people, and does give you a lot more feeling of self-worth because you're accepted and you can sort of help people if you can.
So I'm not a member of the Women of West Heidelberg, but I've watched them closely for about the last 8 or 9 years since their inception, and been just amazed by the commitment to their community, the support that they offer one another, and I think most importantly the leadership that they show within their community. That in recent years they've been really strong advocates for women who have experienced violence, and starting the conversations in the community about how we can prevent that in the future.
It means a hell of a lot, actually. It's about getting out of the house, stopping the isolation, interacting with people, helping other people, having a laugh, have a good laugh, feeling good within yourself, and actually helping other people in the community by the things that we do, the fundraising, all the knitting and the and the sewing, and we have, yeah.